Hi, everyone. My name is Dame D.C. Cordova, and I am CEO of Accelerated Business Schools in the Money and You program. And I'd like to welcome you for these few minutes that I am going to answer a question from a friend that I was just speaking to recently. He has been thinking about doing the Money and You program for 20 years. He has heard about us for decades. He has been to our website, www.moneyandyou.com. He has seen that some of the biggest names in our industry, people like Tony Robbins did Money and You back in 1983. People like Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen of Chicken Soup for the Soul had done it back in 1979. And then, of course, Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and later his wife, Kim Kiyosaki. He actually was my business partner from 1985 until 1994. And it was my idea for him to write his first book. At the time, it was called If You Want to Be Rich and Happy, Don't Go to School. And through our Money and You network, made it, a best-selling book, which was the foundation for the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, which, of course, the power behind that book was Sharon Lechter, who also attended Money and You back in 1996, 97. She actually flew into Singapore and had the opportunity to really see that huge network there. And right now, Singapore probably has nearly 40,000 Money and You graduates, both from the English and the Chinese Money and You program. So my friend, who is very successful and wanted to know, why should I attend Money and You? And particularly, why should I come this summer and spend a whole weekend there? Money and You begins on a Thursday night. We like you to be there around 6 p.m. and be there through Sunday night. And we recommend that you take the next day off, because basically we play games for 3.5 days, and you have an opportunity to really activate and integrate both sides, both the left and the right brain, and have an opportunity to use and create new neurological pathways like you never had before. And I promise you, you will be tired. It's really interesting because brain work like that really gets you very, very tired, but tired good. And we will be asking you during the program for you not to make any major decisions for 8 days. And the reason we've had to do this is because for the last 35 years that Money and You has been presented, people get such amazing distinctions from the program, and they want to start changing their lives right away. And one of our rules that we like to have, I have in my personal life, and we recommend people to have, is to not make any major decisions until you've had an opportunity to chill out. Money and You will change your life. There hasn't been too many people that it hasn't changed their lives. And the reason is because we not only will teach you, and you will learn experientially the business success model, which has allowed for people to make a lot of money, for people to become millionaires, and some of our extremely off-the-top successful entrepreneurs in our network. As a matter of fact, I don't think there's any other network on the planet that has as many billionaires as we do, and we have our own homegrown billionaires, including Maury Freyd of Spotlight Stores that attended Money and You back in the mid-'80s in Australia. Now his company, Spotlight Store, I think they trade nearly $4 billion. I'm sure you can Google his name, and you can Google him and find out about him. But one of the things that our very successful friends that have attended Money and You, in the recommendation from other people, is that they are able to handle one of the biggest problems that the mega rich have, which is how to leverage themselves, how to duplicate themselves, how to get other people to think the way that they do. So Money and You gives you an opportunity to not only learn the business success model really experientially, but also for you to learn patterns of thinking that have been really designed and learned by many very smart people that they have shared with us, not only that have attended the program, but also that have come to teach at our business school for entrepreneurs. And then we take their teachings and put them into our shorter program, Money and You. So Money and You is based on the works of, number one, of Buckminster Fuller. Buckminster Fuller was one of the most beloved teachers for us, who was known as one of the top 100 people to be known by Time Magazine of the 20th century. If you Google his name, Buckminster Fuller, you will find so much information about him. And basically, he was a mathematician, a great thinker. He was, in many ways, one of the greatest humanitarians. And he taught us generalized principles. And what Bucky did is that he made over 50 predictions over 70 years ago, and 49 of them have come true. And most of them were mathematical, and they were based on facts. Buckminster Fuller was not somebody that was just making predictions out of the top of his head. He actually studied and researched, and also studied nature. And he taught us to apply some of those generalized principles that are part of nature to human behavior. So in Money and You, you're going to learn some pretty powerful generalized principles that he taught us. But one of our favorites is a thing called precession, which is the mathematical explanation, the scientific explanation of ripple effects, which, believe me, for certain people, people like Eric Lacfond, we love Eric, he's a sales master. That was one of the greatest distinctions that he got out of Money and You, and that completely affected his sales business, and it completely affected not only the way that he taught, the way that he trained teams, but also the way that he saw his life and lives his life now. So one of our mentors, Jenny Tay, took over 200 people through Money and You, including most of his family. I think it was only her mother and her husband that did not attend Money and You, but she comes from a family of extremely successful entrepreneurs, doctors, investors. They love Money and You, and for them, they were able to really activate a part of the brain that would allow them to think differently, to be more creative, to be able to optimize the resources that they had. And then we have other people that come to attend Money and You who are wanting to really fulfill their life purpose. They have a wonderful humanitarian endeavor. They have something that they really have wanted to do in their lives, and they need the business structures, which the business success model will give them. And then we have a whole group of teachers that come along, and the reason being is because the way that Money and You is taught, nobody else teaches us the way we do. There are certain graduates of ours, T. Harv Eker, who he studied with us for about 7 years, and one of his trainers for trainers is Blair Singer, whom we taught how to teach. And so, they have gone on taking different aspects of our training, and we're happy about that, because one of my mission is to transform educational systems around the world and eradicate poverty and hunger. But we also understand business. My background was in law. I was originally first I started as an assistant legal secretary, then an interpreter, then I was an official court reporter in the legal systems in Los Angeles and Hawaii, and I was going to grow up to be an attorney. And I always remember watching all these cases, not only as I was studying and I was being an interpreter and assisting being a legal secretary, but also when I actually became, an official court reporter. It was always misunderstanding the business cases that we had, and also the criminal cases. It was always a misunderstanding that people had. So it's really important to understand the rules of the game of business. And now being a global entrepreneur is so important. I can't begin to convince you, and please Google me, DC Cordova. You will find many different podcasts that I have done, many different conversations on being a global entrepreneur and on really understanding the different rules, but also understanding that you have to be part of a network of entrepreneurs like we have with people from around the world. We have a huge network in China, in Taiwan, Hong Kong, we have it in Singapore, of course, Malaysia, Australia. We have over 14,000 Australian Money and You graduates in New Zealand, and then other countries like Brunei, and we are expanding into India, and of course, once you're in that area, you have people that attend the program from Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and all the different countries. Now, of course, me being Hispanic, I was raised in Chile and came to the United States when I was 12 years old. I also have been opening doors in South America and Central America. I am friends with Gabriel Nosovich and Charlie Mario, and we're doing our first Money and You in English in Cancun in November, in early November. So if you go to moneyandyou.com, you will be able to see all the different dates. But I want to encourage you to do Money and You as soon as possible. And the reason is because you don't want to wait to accelerate your business anymore. I wish I had the thousands of testimonials that people have given me personally when they say, I wish I would have done this program 10 years ago. I wish I would have done this program 5 years ago, because it's really going to support you not only with tools, with business tools, with generalized principles, and for you to learn experientially, and for you to remove blocks that you may have to creating the level of money, and to come up, bring up your level of deservability. And this is really, really important for you. And this is where I'm talking to my buddy. This is where I'm talking to you. I'm doing this video that other people are going to get to share for you on this level, because I know that you have been stuck for years. How successful you are, how good looking you are, how smart you are, and you really know how to do your work. But your challenge is deservability. And every human being, and this is what we found out, and this is what Kiyosaki had to work on. And he shares that in his Rich Dad Poor Dad series. And, you know, and I'm part of Sharon Lecter's new book, Think and Grow Rich for Women, and I'm reading that book. Is fantastic. You got to read that book too. And so one of the things that Sharon was, of course, business partners with Kiyosaki, I think an extra 6 months or a year. I was with him for 9 years. She was with him for 10 years. And every once in a while I make a little joke with her. Hey, listen, I said, I was the one that worked on his deservability level in order for him to go to his whole other level of being able to receive that level of success. Because one of the things that we found out, and that Rich Dad, Poor Dad first book addresses, which was the teachings of Buckminster Fuller, that our educational system teaches us to really be an employee. It teaches us on how to follow others. It teaches us on how to really just follow, not to be a natural thinker, not to really allow our genius, not to really allow for us to think and to have the patterns of thinking, what makes many people to be millionaires, to being successful, to reaching their dreams. And through the years, somebody introduced that word to me, and I wish I could remember who it was. And if you're watching this, let me know. Write to me. Let me know that it was you that introduced me to the word deservability. I love that word. And so what is your deservability level? Are you clear on what is the amount of money that you want to have that's going to allow you to be financially independent, that's going to allow you for you to put the tools in place for you to not have to work again if you don't want to. I go to work and I work so hard because I love it, but not because I have to. I have set systems in place for me to never have to work again, and that is what you want to do, because a human being is really, really happy when they have freedom, when they have choice, when they have I love Tony, even when he was 23 years old, he was talking about all the different references that you can make, and he really loved the word distinctions. He learned the word distinction from us, amongst some pretty powerful things that he still uses. And one of the things that I remember when he and I was very young too. You know, he was 23, I was 33, and we would have these conversations about what makes a human being really empowered. So we were learning together. You know, all of these different names that I mentioned to you, we were learning together. I have to honestly say Buckminster Fuller was someone that I didn't sit there and learn with. I mean, he was the master teacher. Then some of the other teachers that we've had are, you know, Georgie Lawsonoff, that taught us directly how to do experiential learning, and we're masters of that. Then Edwards Deming, that taught us about systems and systematizing all that you have, all your genius so that you can go ahead and move away from your business. And then, of course, we love other people like the gentleman who taught us dissipative structures, perturbation, Ilya Prigogine, who won a Nobel Prize in 1979. So as you go through moneyandyou.com and you see all the notable grads, and you will see how many people have attended Money and You. Some of them have gotten their start with us. Some of them have come to attend Money and You, like Spencer Johnson, who was in 1984. He was so famous for having written his book, The 1 Minute Manager, and he said, you must attend Money and You, and I was so honored that he came to attend the program, even though he was so famous at the time. And he came because he had heard such amazing, news about how people so quickly could go out there and have a lifetime training of entrepreneurial education that is truly transformational in nature, that will help you clear your blocks to upping your deservability level. So that's why you can take someone who is just finishing up school, and we have 14 years old, whose parents want them to learn this very quickly. We have teachers that want to learn the learning technology. We have up-and-coming entrepreneurs, people that want to learn how to be entrepreneurs and how to get started, and others that are already very wealthy that want to learn how to leverage and how to leverage with people that they can trust, and others that are ready to go and have a worldwide market. So I'm absolutely certain that Money and You can support you and can help you. I want you to go to moneyandyou.com. You can download the 4-session business makeover and start your education today. There's 4 hours of entrepreneurial education. You can go ahead and sign up. And by the way, this is a conversation that we must have, and this is about money. People say, why is it so inexpensive? Well, it is so inexpensive. I sometimes have the 2-for-1 sale that I have right now, only through another week. And the reason is because I want to make it easy for couples to attend, for business partners to attend, because once you learn all these principles, you immediately are going to want to share it with others. And the reason I can charge such little money is because I sponsor the Monies in America, and new partners are coming in, and I no longer will be able to do that because my partners need to have a very profitable business as they introduce this work to the world. We're not a nonprofit organization, but we do empower quite a few nonprofits. And I particularly, as you learn more about me, you will see that I have a whole humanitarian series. And of course, I'm a Dane because I was knighted for my lifelong service to humanity. So come join us. Join today. For those of you that have been waiting for years, like my buddy for 20 years, this is the time to do it. And I particularly want you to come to the one here in August in Southern California, because in the summertime we get a whole bunch of people that their vacation is coming to San Diego and coming here. And then, of course, we also have them in beautiful Malaysia. We'll have that in October, and then we'll have them in Cancun, and we'll be expanding to other markets. And that doesn't include all the different programs that we have in Chinese, and then of course later we'll be having them in Spanish. So as we say in Hawaii, aloha nui loa. Thank you so much for watching, listening to this, and it was worth for you to spend the time with me. And thank you so much for listening. Bye. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful life.